Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are falling back for more Mobile Legends Bang Bang with the FSL MLBB Indonesia tournament itself. We are about to stream NGID ESPORT's AIKO up against Siren Moon. And without further ado, let's bring up the first draft between these two teams. And this is what the draft looks like as of now. We've got NGID on the blue side. They've banned out the Valor and the Selena. Siren Moon gonna go ahead and ban out the Kimi and the Kadra. Ooh, the Claude getting light through. I didn't even notice that. So we do have the ESPORT as the first pick in NGID. I think the ESPORT, the first pick, is really something that Indonesian players really like, and she's really good as of now. Like, I can see why ESPORT is getting picked up. You know, she's just really versatile. But I do have my preferences over her. Although Valor has been banned out, so I can't really comment much. Qualifiers getting picked up. We do see the Claude getting picked up as well, obviously. The Jawhead and the Atlas getting picked up, and 3 heroes who are counted by Valor all picked up already. I do like that. Still don't like the fact that Cho isn't picked up. Cho just works so well against all 3 heroes. A little bit of a exact scenario as the previous game that we saw between Battletron Battle Angels.
Your team is picking.
And the side of lots of highs, where the 3 heroes on the left were picked up by Battletron Battle Angels. But NGID decided to ban out the far side. Good ban. Cho finally gets picked up. Yes, I do like that. I think Siren Moon should have picked up the Cho earlier, but hey, at least they picked it up. NGID, they should pick up something. They can strike the Kufa and Tamus really quickly. Parry is good. Hylos is also pretty good. Even more lockdown with the Law and Order coming up the Hylos. Pretty decent crowd control. You have to carry to be able to distract people with a passive. And they pick up I do think the Kagura isn't a bad pick. Kagura does provide a little bit of the AoE control, I would say, to a certain extent for a mage. But I am still concerned. I still think the leader would be really good in this instance. Once again, you do see a team coming for MGID where they are looking for a lot of that. They're just gonna run you down with ultimates, try to bully you every single time their ultimates are available. So I think, you know, pick up a leader does push your opponents back. But that being said, Kugura can also get the job done. You know, she's picked up the flame shot, so she's definitely gonna go a little bit more aggressive on this mage support role. Selena was banned out, I believe, so I think that was definitely the next best option for the side of Siren Moon. But without further ado, the first game between NGID ESPORT's AIKO and Siren Moon. And for the game begins, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors Dreamcore, Yahoo, and Super Solid.
5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed.
This is the first game that we're missing Siren Moon play. We'll have to see how they perform, but looks like we're gonna see that 5-man aggressiveness coming up from the side. Night Gamers ID, they are playing a little bit aggressive in the opening stages, as Mario's really at the bottom and playing it out. And so just gonna go with the traditional 3-man rotation just to get the bobs up. And Tamus had to come to lane to make sure that you don't get overrun by Night Gamers ID. Has to be careful about positioning. Atlas rotating around her. That might be the first blood right there. She managed to get the movement speed up as well. So that was just to make sure that Unicorn couldn't get out easily, but she does find her way out with the Shoryu Umbrella. Blazing Duet already used early just to clear up the wave in the middle. And he's already back into the top. Jawhead, aware that his lane is about to get ganked, and here comes the rest of NGID. You're not ready to give this up just yet. allowing the teammate to get bullied out of lane. A bit of skirmish here and there, having the law in order to start the Cho up. Meanwhile, bottom lane, a bit of a skirmish going on between these two players as well. Favela up against Valerio? I think that's how you pronounce her name. Top lane, same thing for the Cho and the Jawhead. There's the Cho that is getting the upper hand right now. Obviously, with the passive, she does get the extra damage every single time he moves a certain amount of space. I think it's 200 distances. Meanwhile, another fight happening at the bottom side. Both sides are not really committing to a fight as of yet, but we do see the stun coming up onto Lee. No way out. They're gonna drop the Revitalize immediately with the following Star Moon. They get the first blood in, and then it's the Asmarter that snatches that up. Doesn't even have to use the Purify, only the High Lord use the Revitalize. A good start for Night Gamer's ID. I do think that Siren Moon, they are waiting for this claw to be fed. At this point, you know, they're still waiting. They need the Demon Hunter Sword up. She's only completed her tier 2 of a jungle item, so she's definitely rushing for the Demon Hunter Sword. I would presume that once the Demon Hunter Sword comes up, they will, because it becomes on the team fight. Law and Order being used to stun up Lee. Falling Star Moon once again being used. The Fatal Links on all three members. The Qualifiers is going to go down for a second time in a row. Valor has to back off for a little bit. Jellycha comes and tries to poke it down. They manage to get the high loss. They get the double kill onto the Atlas, and now the rest of NGID are on the run. Jellycha sticking onto the Asmarter, comes up with the slow and uses the better mirror image as well. Tries to go past the wall with the AWP, but too much of a distance to cover, and Asmarter is going to go down. So not too bad coming out from Siren Moon. They did manage to get 3 kills out of that. Like I said, they are waiting for the Demon Hunter Sword, but they are showing NGID that they are not there to be pushed over. They do have this, you know, marksman in Claude, which can exponentially farm a lot quicker once he gets his items up. You also see Tamus and Kagura pushing onto the bot lane. Using the Bloodlust Axe is going to be the first item for Tamus. Top side, a little bit of skirmish between the rotating tree of NGID against Lean and Jellycha. Top hit. Jawhead once again going up against this Cho. Stopper force coming in, but Jellycha comes to the rescue. They get another kill, and Claude is just getting further and further by the minute. 3.9k as compared to the carry, who's only at 2.3, and you know, obviously that's due to the fact that Jellycha does have 2 kills on the board. They also managed to get a turret right there. Meanwhile, Kagura getting ganked on the bottom. They do sacrifice the Atlas, but you know, it's not the biggest loss as compared to what could have happened right there. Although you look at Siren Moon, they're already working on the tier 2. In fact, they got it. Siren Moon stepping up the pressure right now. Definitely see the effect of a fat Claude being able to push out the waves way more effectively as compared to a carry. Being able to traverse through the map way quicker than the her marksman counterpart on the other side of the team. But was the Asmarter first pick worth it? They left the Claude open for the side of NGID, but they didn't really want that. They wanted the Asmarter first. So could that be a mistake on NGID part? We'll have to see. But meantime, we do see Siren Moon leading up ahead with the 2k goal lead that they have. Turret's already down. He might be able to get a kill on the Jawhead. I believe that is a dead Jawhead. Stop jumping into mid, camera. But yes, we do see Bill getting the kill. Oh, really close fight there. No, a kill is a kill. Tamus, meanwhile, bottom lane does get kill 1, pushes for Vela out of the lane with the help of Unicorn. NGID is being distracted by the 2 at the bottom. They did manage to get the turtle. They're going to push the mid. Demon Hunter Sword completed. She's really building into the golden staff. does Fatal Link into 2 members, but no damage available. Carry's just too far away to participate in that fight. They get the double kill to both the Atlas and Esmeralda. Once again, Siren Moon just having so much arsenal in their back pocket, and immediately you see Jelly Char in the middle. One moment she's at the bottom, assisting in team fight. Next thing you know, she's pushing down your mid. And that's the scary pace that the Claude can bring to the fight. They didn't lose Unicorn there, a little bit of overextension with the Yin Yang overturn, a little bit greedy there for the Q. Didn't really use the Yin Yang overturn, but the Shuru Umbrella was in a very aggressive position. Claude's already taken the tier 2, golden stuff up, and this is the spike off the Claude now. Not that she's really scary, but she's built even more items, and I think this is where Siren Moon can really take over the fight. So they're coming at 40 seconds, so there really isn't much they can do, given that they've taken all the outer turrets. NGID will just have to turtle up and defend and what I would think would be barrage and waves of Siren Moon's creep pushing in. There's people lingering around. Thomas going for the Queen's Wing at this point of time. I do like the pickup though. You can see that she's definitely going for a little bit more tanky on this Thomas, making sure she can sustain the fight. Glorious Pathway being laid around Fatal Link from 3 members, but once again there is no follow-up from the rest of NGID, who were just too far away from the... What is the Jawhead doing? Trying to eject the lane beneath the turret, but she's all by herself and she's gonna give up her life for that. Esmeralda trying to push Lean away from staying too close to the base. Meanwhile, we haven't seen Bill take part in a team fight as of yet. One solo kill in the top lane, a bit of an assist when Claude came up to get the kill onto the Jawhead, and that was about it. The rest of the time we do see the Cho just pushing, just minding her own business, making sure that the lanes are pushed out, and the fact that NGI can't really rotate everyone to the middle robot to take a team fight, because it's just gonna risk. Oh, Atlas goes down so quickly. We missed out the kill. It happened in a flash. And GID, what can they do here? Glorious Pathway being laid down, but once again, NGID are not ready for a fight. Maybe it's just a statement, just to scare Siren Moon off. Siren Moon just sticking around. They know that they have what it takes to win the team fight. Claude's already built into the Queen's Wing, so it's not gonna be easy to take this one down. I would presume that he will go for or she will go the Queen of Nature. That's gonna be I think that's gonna be the next item for Claude, just to make sure that if you look over to the side of NGID, realistically the only person that can put out as much damage as the Claude in a 1v1 is the carry, and if he goes for Queen's Wing, he's gonna be able to sustain the fight. She's gonna be able to do the damage. She's gonna be able to ignore the carry's damage as well. So that is quite a huge item for Jelly Char to pick up.
Initiate retreat.
It was already picked up the Wind of Nature, so you can see the respect given to the Claude. Obviously, the hardest hitting hero on the map right now. Looking to jump in onto the backline, use the Blazing Duet, so it's natural that the carry will pick up the Wind of Nature, but she still needs so much more items. She's gotten her Endless Battle, but she does need that Demon Hunter Sword, or rather that golden stuff. Just increase the attack speed so that she can proc has even more of the Lord really down to quarter of HP. Can they get this unscattered out? The Lord not being able to get through. Way of the Dragon gonna kick the Jawhead right into the pit. They get one Q, they get the other one onto the Hylos, and without the front line, they can't do much. Well, NGID not doing really well with this double tank lineup of theirs. the idea behind the 2 tanks is really to just keep the carry alive, right? You want to keep the carry alive to hyper carry this game, but I feel like giving away the claw was just a bit of a risky move. As a caster, it's easy to say in hindsight, but here we go. Fatal link to the 3 members. Once again, the fight really scattered into 2 plays, and we have a lot of action going on right here. The Annihilate just spew away at the team, but it's not enough. The lot was left unscattered throughout that fight. And Siren Moon is gonna get game 1.
Victory!
Really good clinical fight coming off of Siren Moon. Didn't really look to be troubled from the first fight onwards. You know, they got the first blood, and you know, they did give away 1 Q early game, but that didn't really matter because the idea behind it was just to make sure that the Claude could farm, make sure the Claude could safely get the items. At the moment the Demon Hunter sword came up, that was pretty much, you know, where Siren Moon were looking to abuse the spike of Claude, and they definitely did a good job of that. You know, you can see the net worth, you know, 12k as compared to the carry who's only got 8k, and you know, if you look at the damage dealt, I think it's gonna be pretty much Claude that did all of damage. You can definitely see that, you know, 59% turret damage, 44% of hero. Next up is gonna be the Kagura, but you know, honestly, she was just there to you know, give a little bit of the AoE control of the Young Overturn to make sure that she can strat for the Claude, you know, and just allow that opening for the Claude to go in with the Blazing Duet, and that was really the success formula of Siren Moon. So nothing really too much to shout about game 1. I really do think that giving away the Claude was the a bit of a mistake on NGID's part. Maybe they were confident, right? Maybe they think, okay, we'll pick up the ass murder and then we'll try to bully them by picking up 2 tanks. We'll stick on top of the carry. We'll make sure that the carry becomes fat. But unfortunately, that didn't really happen, and Siren were able to farm way quicker. And because of that, the Claw came online and, well, win most of the team fight. So with that being said, Siren Moon, they have 1 game in hand. Remember, this is a best of 3 series in the semi-finals, so we still have potentially 2 more games to go. If NGID can pick up the 2nd game, we'll go to game 3. If not, Siren Moon will book their spot in the grand finals. And obviously, there is also another exciting match that's happening right now. Battletron Battle Angels up against, I do believe it's EVOS ESPORT. So that is also 2 giant house of the tournaments that are going at each other's throat and the other semi-finals bracket. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be streamed. So we'll take a break, but when we are back, we will have the 2nd game between Siren Moon and NGID played really shortly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's begin the draft. The teams are already ready. We've already gone through the first phase, so let's just jump right into it. Siren Moon picked up game 1, and now we are into game 2 of Siren Moon against Night Raiders ID. Or is it Night Riders ID? I would have to... Night Gamers ID. I'm so sorry about that. Night Gamers ID. And we are looking at Siren Moon banning out the Kaja and Valor. You know, Kimi and Claude got banned out. Smart decision coming from NGID. You know, the Claude was really effective for Siren Moon. I think that was pretty much the reason why they won, honestly. But we'll see how that one goes. We do see Selena getting picked up as the first pick, not too bad. Tamus and Bruno to follow that up as murder once again. 100% pick ban rate so far coming into the FSL MLBB Indonesia tournament. We also have the Krufa and the Joyhead getting picked up. I would say that, you know, at this point in time, NGID, they need to focus on banning out a tank. They've already banned out the Atlas, so they need to pick up a mage, either a mage or marksman. I think what would be a really good marksman for them would be a Grandjo, someone that can keep the distance, doesn't really have to worry too much. Either that or 1-1. 1-1 is also really good for them. But given that Cho is now being picked up, I think 1-1 would be too not too good of a pick, because the Cho is just going to be able to stun her up every single time she's trying to keep the stacks there. Siren Moon, they decided to pick up the Grok. I like the Grok pick. No early game, she's really good. You have the power of nature, you have a bit of the burst effect coming into the mid lane, and then you can also rotate really quickly because of his passive. And a good thing about Grog is that when he hits the level 4, he becomes this bursty tank where he can peel for his teammates, open up a lot of team fights for the Bruno, and also give space for the Cho to find an angle to come with the Chikundo into the Way of the Dragon. Not too bad of a draw for both teams. I do feel like I don't know. I feel like Siren Moon has a bit of the early game aggression that we might be able, or rather they might be able to capitalize on. And the fact that they pick up the Selena, they have the Grog, they have this early game damage going on, and it's going to be a really scary rotating trio coming up from Siren Moon. Whereas for Night Gamers, they do have they do have the Jawhead, right? They do have the Jawhead Krufra. They have quite a bit of CC in there going in their favor. So I think they'll be looking to go late game with this, especially the Granger. Because as early game as Granger is, because of this, you know, the crit of this, the fact that he does have the Death Sonata, I think late game is really where Granger can shine. You know, the burst damage does reduce a bit. As long as they can avoid getting stunned up by Abyssal Arrows coming up for Unicorn, they should be able to do the trick. I think the key player early game would be Lean, who's playing this Grog. Really excited to see what she can do with it. I think she is going to be fantastic. Now, obviously, Lean's going to be able to hold up the middle of the lane by her own, as the rest of Siren Moon will do their stuff. NGID will be taking up the blue buffers. Like I said, you can definitely see a bit of a scary trio rolling around. You know, you can definitely see Lee going in with the Power of Nature after the setup, the Abyssal Arrow coming from Unicorn. A lot of burst damage there, and you definitely do not want to be caught out by that Abyssal Arrow, because whoever gets caught out is pretty much dead. You're right there. Valer getting a bit of a gang coming up, and the first blood will go in the way of Night Gamers ID. Good gang onto the bottom, although it looks like they won't push because Siren Moon, they are focusing on just pressuring the middle of the lane. And with that, NGID should be able to secure the bottom tier 1. Looks like they've ran out of creeps, so... But it's really vital for them to keep the tier 1 alive in the middle, because that's going to open up a lot of space on the map, especially for Siren Moon to rotate around, and you do not want that to happen. So I can see why they got the S1 to go back, make sure that the tier 1 is still standing. Siren Moon trying to find out where the Jawhead went, didn't really manage to get the gank off, and that's gonna put even more pressure onto the bottom lane because of the fact that they're all at the top. It looks like NGID do not want to commit to that push.
Request backup. Turtle resurrecting soon.
Fighting over the red bar right now. Secured by Firestar. They get the Q onto the Grog with the flame shot. Or not the flame shot, but you know, with the shot coming out from Granger right there. That's another once again very useful in just bursting the heroes up. Top lane, Jawhead and Cho in a 1v1. It looks like NGID will get the better of it. And they get the stun up onto the Bruno. One more hit should do the trick, but Bill, or rather Jellychard, managed to get out in the slither with a slither of health. Managed to use the slight tackle at the very last second. Siren Moon just Playing a little bit passive, just soaking up all this pressure coming from NGID, who has been doing a fantastic job in making sure that they have the control over the lead. 4K up in 4 minutes. Really good pacing coming up from the red team.
Request backup.
Looks like Night Gamers ID. They are trying to find this top turret. They didn't really manage to cut the wave there. But it really doesn't matter. They have the Granger who's able to just clear the waves really quickly. Meanwhile, middle of the lane, Helen don't really manage to defend against the tier 1, but it's fine. Teammates already making quick work of the top tier turret, or a tier 1 turret at the top. Peach gonna set up. Tyrant's Revenge to get the easy kill with the Feather Airstrike. And Unicorn SN running. Siren Moon definitely not being able to utilize that trio that I spoke of. And NGID, they're just not giving the angles for Siren Moon to work with. Controlling this fight by the minute, making sure that their teammates doesn't get caught in an awkward position. They're going for the blue buff. They get the flicker being used by Tampus right there, and Bill goes in. They get the Chikundo. Where is the Way of the Dragon? There it is. Didn't really get him the spot that they want to. Melk's just using the Purify at the right time. I think that's going to be pretty much an uncontested total. Well, Grok is there, but I don't think... Oh, they managed to steal it. Lean with the steal. Good play coming out from the Grok. She came in at the very last second, stole it with the power of nature, and I don't think the NGID will be too happy about that. See a lot of aggression coming from NGID now, capitalizing on the lead that they have. They get the Q onto the Tamus, and now they're moving into the jungle. Force of Nature, follow into the Wild Rush. Lean trying to peel away at Peach HP, but this is a tanky Kufra, and they can't get the kill right there. IDS also split pushing onto the top side, making sure that Bill has no way to push onto the top lane. NGID just controlling every single portion of this map. 5k goal lead now, 3 turrets under their belt.
Request backup. Initiate retreat.
And I've already stated my predictions. The later this game goes, the better it is for NGID, because as each minute passes by, Granger's just gonna build into more items. She hasn't even had a bit. She did manage just to pick up her Blade of Despair, but imagine the damage she output. Look at that! She immediately blows up Unicorn. The ceiling that goes down within a couple of seconds. And that's the damage that I was talking about. Prior to picking up the Blade of Despair, she was already dealing a ton of damage. Now with the BOD, she's looking even more scary.
Launch attack.
NGID putting on a really good performance. They're zoning out members of Siren Moon, making sure they can't defend this tier 2. They should have it. Meanwhile, Esmeralda dragging more members of Siren Moon down to the bot lane, falling Star Moon, trying to delay even more time, but she runs out of HP. So it's kind of a sacrificial bait at the bottom side. Looks like Night Gamers ID are starting to ramp up ahead in terms of net worth. And there's battle coming up for Mouse really soon. You already see Helen built into the brute force armor. Even Jawhead's already starting to work on the Blade of Despair. And that's just gonna be even more damage going with NGID. Meanwhile, they get the gang onto the top. Good catch out by the side of Siren Moon. They also get the top tier 1 tower at the top. Meanwhile, bottom lane, is it a fair trade after all? Because NGID, they're just switching it up for the tier 2s. NGID making sure that the trades that they're making goes in their favor. And it certainly has for most of this fight. Jellychar and Lin cutting the wave away to make sure that NGID can't continue pushing down the mid. Boy, this is going back and forth. Siren Moon, despite being on the back foot, they are still trying to make work across the map. But now Lin in a lot of trouble, being chased, forced to use the Wild Rush to get out of Helen's reach, and they will back off safely. Although Lord is coming up, and I'm sure she wanted to keep the Wild Rush for that fight. Buff being stolen away by Mouse. You can feel the tension. Everyone's on edge right now. Whoever wins the next team fight is pretty much either going to secure the Lord or it's going to secure at least 1 to 2 turrets from this. And that's why you can sense it. Both sides not really wanting to commit to a 5v5 on now. Well, Cho's already exposed herself at the bottom lane. Same goes for Ass Murder. So we know it's going to be a 4-on-4 if a fight breaks out right here.
Initiate retreat.
Jawhead at the top, clearing it out, but the damage coming up from Grandeur. Velen, one more hit to go down. They managed to get the kill, but they trade it out for the Grandeur, and that's definitely a good trade for Siren Moon. They got the marksman down. One more hit should do the trick. They get the kill onto the crew on the way of the dragon. Lin trying to chase onto Ades. The wild charge will catch up to her. She gets the kill, and Siren Moon, this is their way back into the game. They won that fight, 3-1 trade, and they might also get the Lord uncontested. Well, Siren Moon, they pulled that out of nowhere. Jawhead showed herself at the top lane. They knew it was a 4v3. And you gotta give big ups to the Cho, managing to find the Grandeur in the middle of it all. Coming up at the right time. I would have thought that Unicorn would set up the fight with that Bustle Arrow, but never mind that. They got the kill and that was all it mattered. And obviously Lin relentlessly just chasing down the Jawhead, getting the kill with the Wall Rush at the very last second. That was also vital, and now Idea is going to be a lot of trouble. Tries to go past, didn't check the brush, and gets taken out. They get the tier 2 at the bottom, Lord coming up on top. And this puts NGID in a dilemma. Do they defend against the Lord or do they defend against the push? Well, Siren Moon, they won everything. Bruno down the mid, 2 members down the bottom, Lord at the top. And Siren Moon, boy oh boy, they only won 1 fight. But 1 fight is all it takes. 1 more swing of a hammer or the axe. And Siren Moon's got a 2 tier 3s. Oh, a huge wave coming down on the bottom lane. Looks like Siren Moon, they know they managed to get the most that they can out of the Lord push, and they're just gonna back off. They got 2 tier 3 turrets, and they pretty much overlipped in terms of the net worth. Look at that! NGID were ahead for the entire game, and you know, in just that 1 team fight, Siren Moon managed to not only overtake the net worth, but they got back all of the control over the map that they lost so far. Obviously EXP gain is pretty much the same. Most of the heroes are already maxed out, or rather the carries on both sides are already maxed out, so final items being picked up by the carry in this point in time. But Siren Moon, they did manage to pick up the bottom tier 3, and so super minion waves throughout the lane coming up for the blue team. And NGID now finding their backs pushed against the wall. I would presume that Melt is trying to build in the Wind of Nature. That is the only item that can really protect her from all these physical damage output from the Bruno, from the Grog, from the Tamus. If you look towards the bot on the side of Siren Moon, they have so much physical damage. Even for the Cho, who's coming in, the Chikundo is going to burn into the Flicker, trying to find an angle to work with for the Way of the Dragon. You definitely do know that this Grandeur is gonna be the target. She has a target on the back, and wherever she goes, Siren Moon is just gonna look to take her out. And that was how this whole thing started out. You know, in Siren Moon, they were on the back. They managed to get that one vital kill onto Malx, and look at that. And look at them now. They're just ahead, and they're just playing very patient. You know, making sure that there's just no way that NGID can push out the base. They're taking away all this buff. Just waiting for the Lord to come up, and this enhanced Lord. NGID know they cannot afford to give this up. And so Pitch leading the way now for NGID. Waiting, just creeping nearby. There is also a lingering threat of the Cho getting taken, but eventually the Lord goes down uncontested. And the question begs, how well can NGID defend in this point in the game? Where, you know, they were ahead by so much, you know, they got their backs pushed against the wall. And now they have this enhanced Lord along with 2 waves of super medium creeps pushing down their base. Looks like NGID have to quickly take it out. It's too quick. There's just too much damage going in the way of Siren Moon. And they are your first grand finalists of the FSL MLBB Indonesia tournament. I mean, that was... what a game that was. That has been the most exciting game so far coming in this tournament. I gotta admit that Siren Moon, they were back. They were just getting trampled on by NGID, and all it took was one team fight where Bill managed to go in, find the Grandeur, managed to stun him up, and from there on, it was just pretty much Siren Moon's game. The Tamus was just a sacrificial lamb, and you know, even I think, you know, as much as Verlaine was struggling in this game, I think she did a good job at split pushing, you know, dragging the Esmeralda from lane to lane, making sure that it's really hard for NGID to even split push. And I gotta say, you know, this Grog of Siren Moon, they pulled it out of nowhere. They haven't been playing Grog in the FSL MLB tournament. Well, this is the first game that we have seen, but you know, the first game they didn't really reveal the Grog, and I think that was kind of a surprise factor for NGID. You know, came out of nowhere. And although they didn't really get the trio gank going on, you know, the gang that I talked about, you know, the Grog as well as the Selena, the early game aggression, it didn't really matter, because at the end of the day, Grog is still a hero that can peel for the team really well. You could see Lean just going in straight, peeling for the team, and at the rare fire moment also managing to get the kill into Ideas. I know he put 3 members on NGID on the damage death counter, and she's just done splendid at being a front line. And you know, you also gotta give credit to Jelly Cha, you know, being able to farm, you know, cool, calm player. She's been playing a fantastic games throughout this tournament. And well, what can I say? Siren Moon, they're gonna be your first grand finalist of the FSL MLBB Indonesia tournament, and we'll also try to catch up with the game between Battletron Battle Angels and EVOS Esports and find out who's gonna go up against Siren Moon in a best of 5 series in grand final. I'm really hyped up for it. I'm really waiting to see who's gonna be our grand finalist, and I'm also obviously waiting for the results in the other semi-finals bracket. We'll go for a short break, but when we are back, the grand finals of the FSL Mobile Legends Bang Bang Indonesian tournament. I'll see you right after this.